Chessical channel. Today we will know about a legend of chess world. Yes, his name is Mikhail Tal, one of the greatest chess player of the world. His playing style was attacking. We will also watch a game of this legend, but before that, let's see some unknown truth of his life. His full name was Mikhail Nekimevich Tal. Tal was born on 9th November 1936 at Riga, Latvia. Unfortunately, since birth, he only had 3 fingers in his right hand. Though he was extremely intelligent when he was just 3 years old, he could read books. He could multiply 3-digit numbers at just 5. He started playing chess at 8 from his father. Well, his father was a doctor. When Tal was 10, he went to a chess club named Palace of Pioneers. His first coach was Janis Khrushchev, apart from his father. At 13, he won Latvian championship. He was 15 when he admitted in Riga University for studying philology. He won Soviet championship and he was the youngest one to win this tournament by that time. FIDE awarded him GM title from winning this championship. Between 1936 to 1958, he won 3 team gold, 3 individual gold in Olympiads. In 1959, he won Zurich International Chess Tournament and Canada's tournament, which was held in Yugoslavia. In 1960, when he was just 23 years old, he became 8th world champion after beating Mikhail Botvinnik. Till 1985, he was the youngest player to win the world championship title. But in 1926, Garry Kasparov broke Mikhail Tal's record and became world champion at the age of 22. After 1960, Mikhail Tal's health was having some issue, for which he couldn't play all the rounds of 1961 World Championship. As he was sick, World Chess Federation asked him if he wants to postpone the matches till he became well, but he replied no, as postponed the match wouldn't be respectful to other players. After 1961, he played many tournaments and also won some of them too. He gave us various learning gifts through his creative mind. This is not only the end, he again created world record at 55. Botvinnik played 86 consecutive matches and not lose any game. Later, Tal played 95 consecutive matches without a loss. Tal played more than 3,000 tournament games in his 41 years of chess career. He was not only a chess player but also an author. He wrote many quotes, articles, books. One of his books is Life and Games of Mikhail Tal. For his creative and deadly attacking skill, he was known as the Magician of Riga. Apart from chess game, he also liked football game. For kidney failure, the legend left us on 28 June 1992 at Moscow, Russia. We give our heartfelt tribute to you, sir. You will live with us always. Now let's look at one brilliant game of this legend. Okay, so now we will look at a brilliant game of this legend, Tal versus Jack Miller, 1988. Here Tal is white and he started with 1 e4. And by playing this move, we can see that queen diagonal is open now and also bishop's diagonal is open. And not only queen and bishop's diagonals are open, but also the pawn, the e4 pawn now controls the d5 square and f5 square. So this is the benefit of playing pawn move and like central pawn move on first move. Not only you controls a square, but also you can open the diagonal of your pieces. And here black replied with e5. And here also we can notice that queen diagonal is open and also bishop's diagonal is open. And also the e5 pawn controls d4 square and f4 square. Now white played knight f3. White developed a piece and also threatens knight into e5 on the next move. So it's very important not to just develop our piece but also to threat opponent's one. Like you can say that if we develop our piece on this square on knight e2 or on knight h3, we can call it also a development, but we should always try to develop our pieces towards the center. Okay, and if we can do it by threatens opponent's piece, that is very good. So here Tal played knight f3 and black replied with knight c6. Now he also developed a piece and supports the e5 pawn. Now it's white turn. White played bishop c4. Well, we should keep in mind one more thing, that in the opening there is a rule that before bishop you should develop the knight. You may ask why it is so. Because you can see that the bishop can go to this square, this square, this square, this square, this square. Of course not this square, because then black can take with this pawn or this knight. But I try to say is the bishop has many squares to develop, but the knight only has 3 squares, you know, the f3 square, h3 square and e2 square. So the flexibility of pieces should be remain. So that's why here white played knight f3, because we can know that after some moves, after maybe next move, we can play bishop e2, bishop d3, bishop c4, bishop b5 according to the opponent's reply. So here black played knight c6 and white went bishop c4. You might wonder that why not bishop b5? We should develop our piece as far as possible. Yes, it's right that we can go to bishop b5, and this opening is called widow pitch. This is also a very famous opening and very long theory. But Tal went here bishop c4. This is also a good opening, and you know, it's called Cuico piano and 2 knights. After knight f6, this is 2 knights. And here if white plays on c3 d3 setup, that is Cuico piano. And if like instead of knight f6, if bishop c5 b4, there is a opening that's called Ivan's gambit. So there is many more options after bishop c4, and here black played knight f6. And we can see that after bishop c4 there is a threat on this f7 pawn. Like not immediately, because now black can simply take and we will be a piece down, but we are keeping an eye on black's king side. Here black attacks e4 pawn and develops a piece. And now white can easily defend the pawn by playing d3. But here Tal replied with d4. He didn't care of this pawn, because if black now takes with this pawn, with this knight, then this will be bad for black, because now white can take this pawn, and you know, in the center means d4 d4, d5, e5, e4. This is called center. And in the center, black don't have any pawn, only white have pawn. So this is the reason of because this is the reason white is better here. And also, you know, white can play queen d5 and bishop c4, then king into f7, then queen d5. Also like attacks the knight, and you know, can castle, rook e1, and here white is okay. So white played d4, and if black takes into d4, then white will play e5. Here also white can take this pawn, but you know, this is not the best line, and white is Tal. We should remember that white is Tal. He loves to sacrifice. So white plays here e4, attacking this knight. Black plays d5, and this position can also transfer from Scotch opening. Remember, also can transfer from Scotch opening, like bishop b5, knight e5, knight into d4, bishop d7, like this, and game might be like this. So after d4 and d6, here this is white to play, and here Tal played. Well, d6 is not good move. As you can see here, white can take, and that's what Tal did here. Tal took the pawn, and black took the pawn with knight, not d into e5. If Tal played d into e5, then we can see queen into d8 is there, and if king into d8, you know, if king moves or rook moves, then we can castle. So if king into d8, then just bishop into f7, also knight into e4, and then bishop into d5, and here two knights are attacked. This is attack, this is not attack, but then also white will take this pawn after taking this knight. So here white is winning, and if he takes with the knight, then knight into e5, knight into e4, castle, and here white is slightly better because white castled, and in development white is ahead. So white is better here. Miller took knight into e4, and now Tal played bishop into f7 check, and like if black plays something like king e7 or king e7, this will be just disaster. So black took this, and now, well guys, if you want to improve yourself, you must think. So just think, pause the video for some like 10 seconds or 15 seconds and think white to play and how should white continue. Okay, so now I'm telling the answer. White here plays queen d5 check, and yes, this is called fork. Fork means attacking two or more pieces in one time. So here white attacks the king with, and this is called check, and white also attacks queen, also attacks the knight by his queen, and this is fork. So now black has to defend the check. Black played bishop e6, and we should remember that black can go back, but development is the key thing in the opening. So here black played bishop e6, developed his piece, and white took the knight, and now white is a pawn up. But as white here a pawn up, also black has some compensation as he has bishop pair advantage. Bishop pair is a thing which is very good, but also we should not forget that king is open, but for white king is not open so much. So here black played bishop e7, and the idea is to go rook either f8 or rook e8 and just develop the piece bishop e7. Now white here castled. Like castle is the main thing in the opening. Like you should be you should protect your king when you can. So here white castle, black played d5. And notice one more thing, by castling you are not keeping your king safe, but also you are developing a piece. In castling you can save your king and also you can develop a piece. So this is the benefit of castling. We can castle either side, on king side or queen side, but as here the knight and the bishop are not developed yet, we cannot castle queen side. But there is in chess there is two routes, we can castle either king side or queen side. If the king is not moving, if the rook is not moving, then. So here white played castle and black played d5. Black attacks the black attacks the white queen. And now white played queen to d3. But this is not good move, as it allows black to develop his rook. If white played here queen f4 check, then as we can see the if black plays bishop f5, we can simply take with the queen, and if black plays bishop f6, we can simply take with this pawn. So black has to move his king, and if he goes to king g6, and the king is very open, and it's really very bad. And if black plays king g8, then we can see that rook is being stopped to develop. Okay. And if black plays here king e8, then the king stands in center. Okay, we can move. We can now move our rook to f8, but we can see the king is on center, and this is not good. White can continue with rook e1 or knight c3, and later knight g5 can come. Also, we can play queen g3 to attack this pawn. Also, we can develop then our bishop to g5. And there are many more possibilities. So this would be a better option. But Tal played queen d3. It's okay. Here also Tal is a pawn up. Here black played queen d7, and as we can see, after playing queen d7, the rooks are connected, and the rooks are connected means development is almost over, but not over yet, because black should bring their rooks in open files or half open files, because as here in this position there is no completely open file. So but the rooks are connected, and also black threatens bishop f5 to attack this queen. Earlier bishop f5 wasn't possible due to queen was here. So if black plays bishop f5, white can simply take, but now bishop f5 is an option, and later bishop e4 also. So after queen d7, white played rook e1 and overprotects this pawn, as if white moves his knight on g5, then this will be hanging. So rook e1 develops a piece and also overprotects this pawn. So after rook e1, black played rook a f8, and here black's idea was king e8 and king d8, and put the king into a safer area, and then with g5, immediately g5 is not possible, but after some preparation g5 h5 and attack on this king. And we should remember that we might be a pawn up, but our piece isn't developed yet. So here that's why black played rook a f8. You may say that why not rook h f8, but rook a f8, the reason is that the h rook might come in attack might come in attack after in this h5 h4 pawn storm. So black here played rook a f8, and now white played knight c3, developed a piece, and not threatens this pawn, but okay, keep an eye on this d5 pawn. Here black played king e8, and as I told earlier, the king wants to go that side and then pawn storm. So here white played knight g5 to take the double bishop. As I earlier mentioned, that double bishop pair is very good thing, and white doesn't have any bishop pair, black has. So if our opponent has bishop pair, we should try to take any one of his bishop. So here white plays knight g5 to take the bishop, and black went bishop c5. Like if black says, if you take my bishop, then I will take your pawn and I will do fork. So here black played bishop c5. Black can also took this bishop into g5, but now we can see that black's bishop pair is gone and black is a pawn down, and also the king cannot go to that side due to this bishop, and here the rooks are connected, and knight and queens are well placed, pawn on e5, and this is a passed pawn. We shouldn't forget that this is a passed pawn, and okay, this is blocked by this bishop, but this is a passed pawn and this is completely winning for white. So here like black didn't take the knight, and if black plays something like bishop bishop f in this, if this diagonal like f5 g4, definitely not h3, because now then black can take this bishop with pawn on knight. And if black plays bishop f5 or bishop g4, we can take like if bishop f5, we can take this pawn, this pawn. So black can't leave this diagonal. Black should be in this diagonal to save this pawn. Okay, so, and if bishop f7, we can simply take this, and after that e6 will be a fork. So bishop g5 would be the only option, and then like e6 will come, and now rook and knight protecting this. And if black moves the queen, then d5 pawn is going, and it's completely disaster for black. So black played here, and if black played king d8, then also we can see knight into bishop, queen into knight, and then d5 pawn is going. So this is this will be very bad. So here Miller played bishop c5, and after bishop c5, here Tal said, okay, I will not play safely here. I will took your knight. I will took your bishop by my knight. You take my pawn. And Miller then take this pawn and says, well, this is a fork. This is a fork. You should move your king. I will take your rook. So here Tal played king h1. Like if Tal goes here king f1, then there might be some discovered check. So here Tal played king h1. This is the safest option. And here black played bishop into e1. Well, black might also play here the queen into e6, but now the rook is attacked, so we can move our rook to, let's say, e2 or f1. And also here is a good option, that is knight into d5, and getting a pawn back, and also knight into c7 for king and queen fork. So knight into d5 is also a good option. Here black played bishop into e1, and now white played knight into f8. Well, you might have wondered, here is a super duper tactics, and I really love it very much, that if white plays here knight into d5 and says that like if you take my knight, if you take my this knight, I will, okay. So here you can pause the video and think. Here white played, here white will play knight into c7. This not happen in the game. Knight into c7, and here is a fork. So Tal can play this, but Tal, instead of going to knight into d5, Tal here played knight into f8. And after knight into f8, here black took back the knight with rook. Well, here also black can play something like bishop into c3, but as we should remember that the queen is hanging on d7, so black cannot take this knight because queen is hanging. Queen is threatened, so black first took with this rook and developed this rook, and also keeping this rook on an open file. And now white played bishop g5 in the game. Tal played bishop g5, but you can say now that knight into d5 is possible, but no, knight into d5 is again a blunder. Now this is a blunder. Earlier this was the good move. In this position knight into d5 was a good move and probably the best move. Here knight into d5 was the best move, but here knight into d5 was a blunder. Why? You might pause the video and think, here knight into d5 is blunder because now black can take with the queen, and if you take with the queen, then rook f1 is a mate, and this is called back rank mate. Okay, but in this position, if black takes with the queen, we can't take with the queen because here is also rook f1 checkmate, which is called back rank mate, I just mentioned. But after queen into d5, here white has knight into c7 check and the fork. I said that fork is something that attacking both piece, attacking two or more piece at a time. So that is called fork. Okay. So here, but here this is a mistake, as queen into d5, and rook f1 back rank. So here Tal played bishop g5, and there is two threat. One is the direct threat, that is rook into bishop, attacking the bishop. Also another threat is that I earlier mentioned that king wants to go that side. So we are like here Tal stops that plan. So he played bishop g5. He could play bishop e3, not bishop f4, because rook can take, but not h6 because pawn can take, and not bishop f4 because rook can take. But he could play bishop e3, but then the king might run away that side after supporting this bishop or something else, like bishop into c3, then king can go to that side. So here Tal played bishop g5, and now Miller said, okay, my bishop is trapped. As you can see that the bishop h4 is not possible, due to bishop into bishop. Bishop g3 is not possible due to queen into bishop or pawn into bishop. Bishop f2 is possible, and bishop d2 is not possible. Bishop into c3 is possible, but then queen into c3, and we shouldn't forget that white is a pawn up here. So the side who is pawn up should not exchange pieces. Okay, should keep pieces and exchange the pawns. So here black played knight b4, and here white attacks the bishop and black counter attacks the queen. And now white played here queen e2, again attack e1 bishop, and also keeps an eye on h5 square to check. So here black played knight into c2, and this is a brilliant move because by Miller. This is a brilliant move by Miller because Miller is black, and now white cannot take this knight because rook f1 will be a back rank checkmate. And now rook is hanging, but here Tal said, okay, I will not save my rook, I will attack your queen. So Tal here played e6 and attacks the queen. And here Miller played queen d6 as queen was hanging. Now Tal again played knight b5 and again attacks the queen. And not only attacks the queen, he also threatens one thing, that is knight into c5, but not immediately. He keeps an eye on c7 square. Okay, and this type of attack is very quiet, very silent attack, but also dangerous. So knight b5, and here Miller played queen e5 and attacks the bishop. Now you might wonder that queen e5, this is simply blunder. White can take this queen with queen into e5, but no, don't forget guys, if queen into e5 then rook f1, and this is a checkmate. This is a back rank checkmate. You might be a queen up, but here is a checkmate. So here black played queen e5 and also supports this pawn and also attack this bishop. So here is three purpose. One is supporting this pawn and also attacking this bishop. Also, like, black cannot take the queen, because if black takes the queen, like, this is not black's move, this is white's move, but I'm saying that black not threats queen into e2, black threats queen into g5. If black takes queen into e2, then knight into c7 is a checkmate. So here Tal played h4, and this is also brilliant move. Like, this is a game of brilliant players. Both are playing equally good. Both are playing very tricky, very crazy game. Here white played h4 and supports the bishop, but here black, as I earlier mentioned, black cannot take the queen because knight c7 is a checkmate. The king cannot run away because these dark squares are controlled by this bishop, and also cannot go to this and this square due to the pawn, and this is a check, and cannot go to this side because of rook, and this is a check, so it's checkmate. So here Miller played queen g3 and supports this pawn also, and we shouldn't forget that now white can take this queen. This is black's to move. Remember, this is black's to move, but white can take queen into queen, because now rook f1 isn't checkmate, because earlier Tal played h4, and for that reason now h2 square is vacant for the king. Okay, so now queen into e5 is threatening. So Tal here played h4 and black played queen g3, supports his queen and also saves this pawn. Now Tal played, okay, my rook is now seriously attacked, so I should move my rook. So Tal here played rook d1 and attacks this pawn. Well, black could play something like c6 to defend this pawn, but Miller didn't do that. Miller played here, if c6, then we can play something like rook d3 to attack this queen, but Miller here played, like, if c6, we can play here rook d3, attacking the queen. Okay, but Miller here played rook f2 and attacks the queen, and also queen into g2 is a checkmate threat. So here is two threat by playing rook f2. And now Tal here plays another brilliant move. Both players are playing very, very good moves. Here Tal played queen into rook. And now notice one thing, the queen can be taken by bishop and queen. But remember, if queen into f2, then the c7 square is not supported by the queen anymore. So white can take this by knight into c7 check, but this is not the checkmate, as here is not the rook. So black can move king f8, but here e7 check by the support of this bishop, king g8 or king f7, any move. If king f7, then direct e8 is equal to queen mate, and if king g8, this is e8 queen, and this is called pawn promotion. Okay, so we will come to this type of tactics: pawn promotion, pins, skewer for, but later. So here e6, e8 is equal to queen, and you know white will win this match as white is a rook up. Okay, so after queen into f2, the miller played bishop into f2, and now here Tal played rook into d5 and threatens direct mate on d8 and also knight into c7. Like if black try to defend this checkmate, then this checkmate will happen. Okay, so here there is no option for black. Black took this pawn, and this is very simple win. This is not complex, guys. And here Tal won this game. If black plays here king into f7, then queen is, the promotion will happen, and if takes with the pawn, then rook into e7, and here is a rook up and a knight up, and black has only a pawn against two rook and knight. So this is winning, and that's how the game ended. And this is a beautiful game, especially from this point it start very dynamic play. Like every time in every move we has to keep in mind that f1 square is defended by the queen, so we can't do anything. And also after this knight b5 move, the c7 square are very difficult, so every move black has to keep in mind that c7 is a vital square. Also here is one more thing, that the queen into e5 cannot be happen due to rook f1 checkmate. And also earlier here knight into d5 wasn't happening because after knight into d5, queen into d5, queen into d5, again rook f1 checkmate. So guys, that's how the game went, and let's see how many points we can learn from this game.